And good evening to you. I trust you're having a good evening. I have got to get up from here and walk in this direction. And oh wow, ain't this something, man? Yeah, I'm in here in no man's land. Yeah, you can really tell when you move away from the bright lights. It, it's really hard to catch any light. So I've got a plant grow light. That's what I illuminate myself with. So not only have I got RF, but I've got a whole lot of UV light. you know, so that's why I wear these glasses. These are special glasses to keep that light out. I mean, you can close your eyes, and honestly, the light I use to illuminate myself, you see little dots before your eyes. That's how intense they are. I've been working on ideas about how to actually create a set here on YouTube, and I'm going to throw my idea out there. But the best light, and this is what I do, is I use reflected light in order to illuminate myself. Therefore, you haven't got shadows. You cannot have shadows from reflected light. There's no damn way you be lighting that wall up over there is going to cast a shadow on me. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But I figured I would get on here and share some of what back in the day when. Now I want to ask you a question. Just hold on and stay with me long enough for me to ask you a question. Hello to you. And what is your name there? What is your handle? I'll just call you Channel for short. How about that? I'm in Virginia. Can you tell by the accent? I'm Appalachia. 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 Yeah, I'm a wannabe Stevie Ray Vaughan. I'll be at it for 2 years coming up in April now. I know I sound cocky in my tone about it, but if you put in 5 hours out of 8, I mean, I have to look at this like a job. Sometimes I go a little bit over 2 hours because, if you get into something and you're working hard, if you stick with it for just a few more minutes, it's just a few more minutes. It ain't going to take me but just a few more minutes. And you know that your time's clicking away against you. And you stick with it and you bust that door down. You've learned yourself another lick. And when you come back and you're fresh, you're able to go at it again. But it takes 8 hours to get 5 hours of practice at best. And I spend a lot of time here on YouTube, but I've been lazy today. I haven't posted a single video today. I've got over 1,600 hours in a year, live, on the air, playing an electric guitar and a 5-string freaking banjo. I came on YouTube with a banjo 12 years ago, and you people let me down. But you may not have been born yet, so I'll reserve that right for a little while. But what I came on here to talk about, well, I'll go ahead with that. I put 2 videos up of me playing banjo. I got 3 views in 2 months, and I was watching all these people who couldn't hold a light to me. not hold a candle. I mean, for real, couldn't hold a candle to me. And they were just blowing up, and I put my banjo in the case, and I just had got it out here in the last year or two, and sat and played with it. I mean, stuff like this. I mean, here I was, and I was an adult, so I can imagine how it would crush a child. But we don't want to really go there either. There's so many little things that need to be talked about and considered when you come to the internet, and especially news. Oh, but Jesus, if it's not, if the news that you're listening to isn't regulated by the Federal Communications Commission in Washington, D.C., they can be telling you anything they want to tell you. And that's an honest to God fact. The SEC was formed. It's going on 100 years ago to protect the general public. Coca-Cola made an advertisement. It was a subliminal commercial, and they put it into a movie. It was one freaking frame ran by Coke, and a whole doggone bunch of them went out there and stood and got Coke. And the government stepped in and made subliminal persuasion illegal. And it is a freaking fact. And yes, they did have cocaine in the doggone sodas up until I think it was, they started creating a lot of drug laws around because all of the medicinals, you had tincture of cocaine. We used to buy the bottles and stuff. We go in antique stores and stuff and pick up little things like that. I've got tax stamps, where I found in kilos of cannabis from back in the 70s. I could tell that it wasn't, something from out in Kansas because, they speak English out there. And I knew damn well they wouldn't put Latin on a tax stamp. And besides, I knew a little bit of Spanish. But yeah, going back to the 1980s, people look at how prices are going up right now. When Donald Trump announced that they were going to give us all $1,200 COVID relief, that first COVID check, I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, here we have borrowed $2 trillion from ourselves. That means we're going to print $2 trillion. That means the price of everything that I know of I need is going to go up. That's what's called inflation, folks. And I'll give you the biggest time of inflation it was ever was between 1955 and 1970. That 15-year period, boy, the pennies were precious. But it was a time to where if you had bought a house and paid $5,500 for it in 1958, it would have been worth $20,000, and you hadn't got to make no improvements on it. That's the way prices rose. And my mom and daddy's generation, people who were born in the 1920s and 1930s, and the ones who were veterans of the war, and were able to take advantage of the GI Bill. There was a federal government, the United States of America, putting its faith and its doggone money in the future of the people of the United States of America. And there's no better place to put the money that the government has is into the education of the people, because educated people are job creators. And I just honestly and truly believe. Yes, I'll answer. Hey, now I'm sorry I kept you folks waiting. Uh, um, it's, some of you may or may
Hey,
not know.
I'm sorry I kept you folks.
Yeah, I've got a delay. Um, I play 5-string banjo, and this guy gave me this banjo. I mean, out here, friendships, they run deep, and somebody sees you need something, and that you ain't got the means to get it, and they wanted the, and he said that he took offense. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to take that call because I was getting ready to take this banjo and have a neck made for it. And yeah, I try to sing. I try to. Somewhere over the rainbow. Yeah, a little raspy. I haven't been quit cigarettes too long. Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to feel loved. As you get older, I was a fisherman. I mean, the fish god, if there's a fish god, that fish god sat on my shoulder. He just did. He liked me. There were people who who were rich and had their beach houses and stuff like that. And I could barely afford the little $1,200 rig I had. And I'd go from place to place, and they'd follow me around. It's like a circus, man. And they'd troll back and forth across my fishing lines. I'd get out on the bank. I didn't have no use for a $50,000 bass boat. I had no use for one. I know it can get me there a whole lot faster, and it was cool and all this stuff. My little motorboat, 16-footer with a 25 horsepower motor on the back of it, was just fine and dandy, for flat water. It'd go through some chop, and if you had, swells, anything but, any greater than 10, 12 feet, I wouldn't want to have been out there in it all day. Hell, people crazy if they stay out there like that. I came on here to talk about the 1980s and the 1990s and how things change but stay the same. Like, I'll give you an example, real quick example. Who did the United States borrow money from in the 1980s? Who? Who were they getting their money from? Who did they borrow money from? Who did they borrow money from in the 1990s? Who do we borrow money from right now? Who are we borrowing money from? You remember now, during COVID, we had $2 trillion that was borrowed from the United States Treasury. So the United States government owes the Treasury $2 trillion. And that's got to be paid back with interest. So, when you start borrowing from yourself, you're digging a big doggone hole. And we went $10 trillion. We went from $6 trillion to doggone $26 trillion in freaking in debt. That's where we're at right now. In case, I don't know where you get your news, but unless you get it from I don't know about more English. About more English what? Give me something here. Come on. You can do it. I know you can do it. I love you. And I got faith in you. No, I am so terribly sorry. I did not realize that you were in India. You're in India, I assume. I am so sorry. Lo siento. Lo siento. No. No. Lo siento. No. Habla English only. Only English. But that, I am from the United States in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Yes, we back in the mountains, you get TV over an antenna, and the TV stations that transmit news, they cannot tell anything but the truth, the absolute truth, and so help you God kind of thing. Because we have what's known as the Federal Communications Commission, which controls the transfer of information over the air. Well, yeah, you should feel. Yeah, everybody should talk. I'm so sorry that it's kind of one-sided with me. Being on the other end. You're there. I seems like we could come up with some kind of idea or YouTube would, where we could all, kind of coexist a little bit better than what we're doing. But this right here is free, and it's up to the channel person, such as myself, the channel owner. I guess is what I'm considered a channel owner now. I have Calvin. Why don't you talk with Drusini down here at the bottom? I can't tell you. I don't. I know about as much about one as I do about the other, and I think I know a little bit less about one than I do the other. Oh, it's a whole lot easier to play electric guitar than it is to talk. Lord mercy. Yeah, we were borrowing money from the Japanese in the 1990s. And at the same time, we had lifted certain tariffs and things like that. We had, Harley Davidsons, they were flowing out of here, going to Japan. People had to get on waiting lists. That's how the man just outstripped the doggone ability to. Well, Calvin, I ain't gonna speak person's name on air. That's would be right and given. I feel comfortable, telling y'all that my name is Teddy Ray Thomas. If you type my name into Google or say Google Teddy Ray Thomas, you don't have to say guitar. You don't have to say banjo. You don't have to say political satire or satire. I can't even pronounce it. Or satirical humorist. You'll get a whole page of nothing but me. It took me 2 years. I started this little project in I believe it's 2012. One of y'all can go look and see. I started this little project in 2012 with a 5-string banjo. And after 2 months and 3 views, I said, thank you very much. And I put my banjo in the case, and I didn't bother to get it out anymore. No, No, but National Organization, National Oceanic Atmospherical Administration, NOAA. There's three ways to spell that. NOAA, NOAA, National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. You've got the Federal Communications Commission, controls all over the air broadcast. It's the only news you can trust because it has to be like they're presenting it in a court of law. Honest to God. If there's anything that you've got a legal doubt about, you do not say a word about it. These national networks, they know that. That's why when, I look at threats, of shutting down CBS, ABC, NBC, or PBS, it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen. They have an injunction in the federal court so fast to make Donald Trump's head spin, and he knows about it. So that's not going to happen. You don't have to fear that. But what I fear is you're going to go on getting your news from wherever it is you're getting your news from. And by doing so, you're just furthering the discourse that's taking us in a totally opposite direction of which we need to be pulling. And that's to pull the money out of the billionaires' hands in the form of taxation and revert back to the tax rate of the 1950s. In other words, you don't get away with not paying your taxes. They have had their way. Let's see. Which one was it that had Nixon? Stone. Okay, Stone, he was one of the first ones, him and Manafort, they were two of the first lobbyists in D.C. And after they got going, then others came in, and others, and then organizations were just up there in force. And by the 1980s, see, Reagan had become governor of California, and he had been appearing on talk shows. And unbeknown to me, he had political aspirations, but every time he was on talk shows, he talked about things that were a national and or had world implications. He talked about foreign policy. And see, that was unusual to hear an entertainer on a talk show talking about foreign policy. So, when he did get in, run for governor, and then he ran for president, he built a coalition with the religious church people. And when I was a boy, they had a TV show on from Lynchburg, Virginia, and it would come on at the same time every Sunday morning. It was called the Old Time Gospel Hour with Jerry Falwell. Got up and I'd watch Jerry Falwell, and I just really wondered what Jerry Falwell would have thought about his son being photographed in such a compromising position. I'm just glad the man went the way he did. He died at his desk doing what he had been doing for over 50 years. He's trying to build something, building, and it's still being built. And that's, I feel, is a great thing. But yeah, I came on here to talk about the finances of our country, and I think I've talked about everything else but right now we're looking at about 26 trillion in the hole. We got billionaires up there that I just love to see their tax returns, but since Donald don't have to, offer up his tax returns for public inspection, none of the rest of them do either. So I reckon that I was the first man in history to be a billionaire, be over the United States Treasury. I don't know. I don't know if that's really proper or not. I mean, you got all these air crashes. You got, it seems just like there's a cloud, and this cloud is falling, and you can see the cloud, and it's kind of, looks kind of almost like smoke. It's so thick that, it's falling, and it'll do that, and it'll fall right down flat on the water, and you won't be able to hardly see. You'll see something if you're in a boat. You'll see something right before you hit it if you're looking real hard. Trust me, I've been there. Yeah, you take your time. Going on the water, it's fun. It's adrenaline. It's adrenaline rush. It's like jumping out of an airplane, just so much cheaper. Because you just might be running along. Here it is, it's pitch black. Here's a log out in the middle of the doggone lake floating. And you just allow us to take you a roller coaster ride. Most time, doggone gonna leave your engine jacked up. It's gonna kind of throw you forward, but you got your life jacket on, got your kill switch connected to you. You won't have no problem. It's just always safety first, and you make these checklists on a piece of paper. And that's for everything that you do. You create a method on paper of doing the things that you do, or just create a list of things that you do, and then see how you might be able to create the efficiency of the amount of time that you put into doing whatever it is that you're going to try to do. I ain't gonna have to put y'all on time out, am I? Yeah, I think time out then goes all good right there. Kind of clear my screen up. Yeah, I'm one of them shirtless hillbillies. But old Hank Williams III, if y'all ain't checked him out, he's got a video up. He's playing guitar and singing his doggone self off, and I swear, this guy is Hank Williams, Hank 3, sitting on the doggone a picnic table, and a man standing on top of that puppy, and he is flat-footing from one end of it to the other and turning around in circles all the way across it. And I'm just waiting for him to fall off any second, but that man maintained his balance. Extremely good video. That's Hank 3 and Appalachia. Probably be a hashtag they would put down Because Hank 3 ain't no slouch. You know, he ain't as big as what his daddy was, or I mean, Hank Jr. was big deal. I mean, Miss Alder put him on the stage just as soon as she could. So he was blown away, and he was wise really before what he should have been. To be a young man. So it's no wonder he had to get on. He wrote songs about his life, made him doggone money. So he's a good man. My book. He wrote about his life, wrote about the country. Hank 3, man, he gets right down in the nitty gritty things. So does Ray Wiley Hubbard, Billy Don Burns. They're all good singer songwriters. They're ones where you can pick up information from about the craft, through just listening to them talk about it. Been thinking about trying to hook up some kind of way where I call Billy Don, get him on here, and let him answer some of y'all's questions. Most people, the first thing they want to know is how do you get a song copyrighted? That's the first thing most people want to know. If you got the ability to write a poem or something like that, setting it to music's going to be the hardest thing. If you got somebody and you got a lot of paper, lines on it, give them to a person that's, can look at something and they got something in their mind. Like I've got 2 tunes right now that I'm working feverishly to come up with words for. And, they just, I'll be laying here getting ready to go to sleep and the verses start just flying. I guess it's those chemicals right before you as you're going to sleep, your brain puts these chemicals into your bloodstream that kind of make you, hinky, for lack of a clinical term. But yeah, we'll just go with hinky. But you almost just be thinking about anything in the world. Those verses will start coming and it'll wake me back up. It's crazy. Never can seem to remember them to get them down complete. So I've been started just ad-libbing during live streams a verse just out of my head. It seems to come like that. So I've managed to get 3, and I've lost what live streams there are of that, but I've been monetized, so I need to go back and listen to every single video from one end to the other to make sure that there were no curse words at all, because I will swear from time to time, and I cannot faithfully click say that something should be monetized when it shouldn't be, when the criteria calls for it, this to be a certain way. Yeah, so I've got that to deal with. Yeah, right here now I'm having to deal with this, and if it don't go that way, it's gonna go this way. There we go. Now I got some juice. Yes. Okay. Well, that's the quickest that prompt ever went off. Well, anybody got anything to say? You want to know anything you question about why is it now? Because of what when? And see, that's an opinion thing. So I've got an opinion. As most of you do. Gotta love it, agua. Got to love the agua. Yeah, we went from trading with Japan. We borrowed money from Japan. We borrowed money from Germany. And when Germany ran out, I think that's when we went to China. And we've been borrowing money from China. Heck, I don't know how long. I remember it was a big news story in China. And it's back in, I'd like to say 1993 or 1994. This was a big news story. That Communist Chinese had released a media statement saying that every Chinese household would have a refrigerator by the year 2000. A refrigerator. You just don't. Those people are just really. Our media they just underestimate those people. It's nasty. I mean, back in the 80s, we had a man called Donald Rumsfeld. He was military. He was representative, of the Reagan administration. And he went over and talked to a man over in Afghanistan by the name of Osama bin Laden. And he was the leader of what was called the Taliban. And the Taliban was fighting the United Soviet Socialistic Republic, the USSR, or what is called Russia now, or Russia. And he agreed to fund them. So we are the reason that the Afghans beat Russia down to the point where it put their people in bread lines and the government failed. We, the U.S., are responsible for that, and a crushed 29-year-old Vladimir Putin crying as a result of it, crying about his government fall. And that's the man we're dealing with. And that's a man with a dream of restoring a historical Russia. It's kind of like if you go back and look at your history and look at how the Romans were, what that was like, and how far their control went. I mean, during Roman times, let's see, I believe Kiev existed. Kiev existed then. I believe Moscow did. It's been so long since I studied this stuff, I wasn't interested in it either. That makes a difference. It surely does shine a spotlight on you when it comes to recollection. Yes, the State of the Union is not that good. I think we've got a stock market where it's highly overvalued, has been overvalued, and it's the biggest bubble in the history of man. But I am not a stockbroker. I'm not your local stockbroker. But you know something? I had access to one's ear. I got to bend one's ear. I worked in the radio station, and we had a deal with a stock firm where sells stocks. You know, and there you have it. You know, they call stuff in, back in. But heck, I'd bend his ear every day. His name was Matt Erickson, Scott and Stringthought. I'd bend his ear every day. And then I started studying it on my own. And then I come down hard on him. I said, ain't no way. I said, I'll come out ahead if I do it and get out at the right time. I said, I can put it into CDs and still come out further ahead than what I will with y'all. And that was by buying silver and gold. But he admitted that yes, that the law of averages over 20 to 40 years, yeah, you're going to see a big hike. But you got to buy it first. But if you give up a Starbucks coffee, what are they? They're about $7 a day. That's, let's see, 7 times, that's $35 a week. You know, $140 a month. $1,540 a year in a year. Man, that's doggone 15 grand there in 10 years time. You know, if that's been put up right, you know, that 15 might be closer to 19. I mean, it's nice when it can make you money without costing you nothing. Yeah, I like my guitar too. I thank you. You know, I'm doing all right. I'm just hanging out here, seeing if anybody come by. Had any questions about anything? I just figured I'd get on here and hang out. It's something else, spending Saturday night by yourself. Back in the day, y'all, from the time I turned, music really, if you're really into music, once you connect with a woman and you have a job where the weekends or the time that you got to work, you work every Saturday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for 5 years. You haven't got any friends anymore. No real working friendships. That's all like ancient history. It's not like you're not friends anymore, but what it is, truly and honestly, is if you're not a part of the narrative, then what exactly are you? I mean, if you're not there, you're not there. It's not their fault that you're not there. And so it's kind of up to you to reframe present yourself, and everything will be just like it was before you ever left. I mean, that's the way friendships go, and that's you create them, and when you create friendships, you know, your word is your bond, and you don't break your word. You know, that's the thing. Your word is all you got. I don't care if you got a pocket full of cash. Your word's the only thing that's good with me. That cash ain't gonna mean nothing to me. At this point, yeah, only thing that matters to me is the truth. And that's what matters to me. It's the truth. And people aren't getting the truth. They're looking in the at these screens in the palm of their hand. It's and they get all this information, and they take it as exactly the way things are, and there are certain little things that are wove in there that cause you to be biased in a sense, more in another direction, because it's like a difference between there's several types of pepper, and you know how to tell it on your tongue which type of pepper is on a particular item. You know it from experience, but oh gosh. What do you say, Cat? You ain't gonna talk to me? Yeah, my cat, he's hanging out. Say howdy, bud, man. I guess that's the best you're gonna get out of him. Yeah. Yeah, come on up here, bud, man. Come on up here and get in your recliner. That's Bud Man's lazy boy there. He's just so cool. I mean, sometimes I hate to make him move. When you get old, you got to go to the bathroom about every hour. If nothing else, just to make sure everything's all right. Talk to Grandpa. Would say, really? Where's she coming? Oh, well, you doggone cat, you tomcat, you Sally's coming over here after a while. That's what he's been down there napping about. Yeah, they go, man, they can keep me up all night. But he lives here, and I said she could come over, so it'll be all right. Okay. You sure? He don't like me telling people about Sally. That's his pride and joy there. Yeah, he looks better on camera than I do. Maybe we ought to just keep a shot on him. Hey, Bud Man. Who won the War of 1812? That's exactly right. It was a combined effort. Do you remember who that future president was? who, against all odds, routed the British in New Orleans. That's right, Old Hickory. That's a smart cat, I'm going to tell you. I've been thinking about getting him on TV, but I feel there's been one too many famous cats. Me and him both old. I dug him out of a cardboard box in 2017, December 2017, before a big snowstorm hit. I mean, he had good sense. He's going somewhere where it would have been warm for him. But I dug him out. I segregated him. I already had one. I segregated him 5 days because I knew, there wasn't any symptoms, anything. It was most likely cool. And then there was an adjustment period. But he was solid black when I brought him in. And, not solid black, but his hair appeared to be black, but it looked like somebody had taken and put Clorox bleach into some black laundry and turned it brown, or reddish color. But and then you see what we got there now. I mean, he's been like it. That became more predominant as he grew. I expect he was about 3-4 months old. Yeah, he had his catnip there a while ago. I told him whenever he gets bed spins, put one or more feet on the couch, and his head will quit spinning. He's a good cat. Yes, Mama was a feral cat. I guess she'd run him off. Told him hit the road. He was juvenile. So the fact that I was able to touch him at all was, quite curious to me. But, he's a vocal animal. I talk to him in the mornings. I can get up and I take my camera. I mean, you can go look at his videos. He's got his own playlist. I kid you not. I think it's 153 videos I did of him. Real quick things, 15 seconds, something like that. But he did so good with cues. I had certain methods of cueing him to meow, and then the camera did the rest as far as the capture and of both his expression and the sound that he made. I was thinking about, taking all of those and then just recording it every morning, and see if I could put it all together and create Thunderstruck. That'd be rough. That is a doggone hot doggone song. I play it wrong, but it works out. It's not my legato's wrong. It's my fingering's wrong. But tonally, it's still technically, in key. It's just some people don't like it. They don't settle for anything except note for note. And I think, the more that you play for feeling, the better off you'll be. You play and try to, project what you feel inside, and try and show it through through the finger and on the strings of the guitar. Try to make the instrument talk. That's the thing that you shoot for. It's making that instrument talk, because it's dump truckloads of sound in an instrument, and 6 strings, and they've got ways of altering those while you in flight. I mean, you got the trim bar for one, B bender. That's where you push down on the doggone guitar, and whereas the strap button it pulls up and it doggone makes the 2nd string go slack. That was an invention that dates back to the 60s. I think that was with one of the mini guitars that was around for the Byrds. Do you remember who that was? Chris Hillman? You sure? Okay. Yeah, you gotta trust Bud, man. He remembers all that stuff. He watched every Eagles documentary we had on YouTube. You go on back to sleep. Yeah, get them paws on the couch. Keep them bed spins under control, buddy. I told you done took too much catnip. Does that animal look like it's been mistreated? I mean, little fella, he won't pee anywhere except in the litter box. I've never heard of a cat doing that. So obviously, that's a sign he's not distressed, because they'll go anywhere. Let's see, who is that? There's a statue of a guy. He's sitting, and he's sitting with his arm across his leg, and his elbow's on his knee, and his fist is under his chin. You know the statue I'm talking about, the thinker. That's Buddy right there. Y'all want to zoom in? Yeah. There's 90-year-old human beings that got hair coming out of their ears like that. I hope mine don't start anytime soon. Buddy gets up here in my lap. It's just like, how much more comfortable can I be? Watch how he'll yeah. Say what? What'd you say? Oh, okay. Yeah. He likes to watch himself. He's like a lot of humans. You tell him, buddy. He said he's exhibitionist. He's a 3rd degree. Second degree too? And the 1st degree. Oh, old buddy tells it like it is. No, buddy, we ain't gonna be able to monetize this video. You know, it might affect your catnip supply, man. That stuff's right expensive, and everything's going up. People that own property, the value of the property is going to go up. But they're complaining about higher grocery prices. That's what blows my mind. Here, the property values are going up. Tax assessor's going to be coming around everywhere over the next 5 years. Coming to a home near you. They're about to be around yours, seeing what's been done to it since they were there last. Just because you go get a building permit doesn't mean that the treasurer has assessed that additional value and taxing you for it. So you get a few years without taxes until, this assessor rolls out. Normally that's about every 5-10 years. He has that look about him. Looks like he's waiting on a bird. He's got his own bird feeder over here. We're going to start tomorrow. We're going to run during the day on another channel, Buddy's bird feeder cam. He's got his own bird feeder over on the lower sash of the storm door. And any bird that comes to the bird feeder, he lets it get in there and get it a few grains. And he jumps up there and runs it off. He's quite good at it. You get him good, bud. Yeah, you don't like people bragging on him. Say, well, I guess we're going, folks. He said good night. Y'all take care now. Thanks for hanging out.